under the window of anger. And as you may have picked up in the pattern in these windows, which I don't think I've mentioned explicitly yet, each of these windows on the vice side of the narthex, of the vice of the virtue, or overcoming that vice. So in this case, we have Saul and David. And you may recall from that story in the book of Kings, that book of Samuel, actually, I think. I need to check myself on that. But the story is well known, right? Saul is king, and Samuel goes and anoints the youngest son of Jesse, who is in the fields when Samuel first gets there. But they bring him in, and he's the youngest, and he's, the least you would expect to be the next king of Israel. But he's the one that the Lord had told Samuel to anoint. And so as we go through that story, you may recall David, in his most famous scene, right? He ends up defeating Goliath with a simple slingshot, And then at that point, his fame and popularity begin to grow. And Saul becomes very envious and angry at David. And so angry that Saul seeks to kill David. So that's vice, right? But David is given to us here as an image of overcoming anger and really an image of forgiveness. And you may recall there's at one point that David has a chance to kill Saul and take revenge, but he does not. He lets him go, he forgives. And just in a very similar way too, the Lord forgives David after he had sinned. Forgives Saul, the Lord forgives David. And so you see some of those symbols, right? At the very top of the window, you've got the slingshot, classic symbol of David. In the lower part of the window, underneath the figures, we see the Tower of Jerusalem and the stars of Bethlehem, Bethlehem being his birthplace, right? Another person we know will be born there a little bit later, a few years down the road. And you also see behind the Tower of Jerusalem, just barely visible, is a rainbow. And that rainbow reminds us of the forgiveness of God, symbolized in the rainbow with the covenant with Noah, right? There's also the sword of Goliath depicted there with the palm of victory over it. And in the medallion, kind of a gruesome image, is the upside down head of Goliath. After David, of course, hits him with the slingshot, he takes Goliath's own sword and decapitates him with it. So that's what's being shown to us there at the base of the window. But a good reminder, and this window invites us to follow David, who also is shown with the harp, of course, because of his singing to God in prayer through the Psalms. And so we seek to imitate David through this window in his forgiveness and in his fidelity to God.
Okay, with Saint Henry, we come to our fourth virtue, which appropriately is the image of Saint Henry, our patron saint here at the parish. And the depiction of Saint Henry the King, the Holy Roman Emperor, is the model of prudence. And if one is going to be a ruler or a leader in this world or have any authority, prudence, the wisdom to make the right decisions in concrete circumstances is so important. And I think for us too, in these days, we need wisdom. We need prudence to make good choices for the well-being not only of ourselves personally, but also of our world, of our common good, and really the good of all humanity. And also, I love the fact that our stained glass window of St. Henry has St. Henry holding the church in his arms. And St. Henry himself, as a Holy Roman Emperor, was very supportive of the church and was a builder of churches.